A very common thing to do with photographic assets is to crop them to improve the focus of the image or to direct the viewer's attention to a specific element or area of the image that you want to draw attention to. And for this, we'll use the cropping tool. So I'll jump over to Photoshop and we'll look at an example of how we can use cropping to create some really interesting composite images from just a single photograph. So here's an image of a horse race in progress. And the image is rather large. If I go up to my image size window, we can look at the size of this image. And it's 4,300 pixels wide, roughly, by 3,500 pixels high. So this is a very large, high-resolution image, 300 pixels per inch. And we're going to see what we can do with this image in terms of drawing the viewer's attention to elements within this high-energy image. So, for example, this is a cropped photograph from the previous image where we've zoomed in to focus attention on two of the riders in the race. If you're used to using a camera that has a zoom control, the zoom is used to increase the magnification of the image that you see inside the viewfinder. So as you're composing a shot, you can use the zoom to crop within the frame. Well, sometimes you also want to apply cropping in post-production after the image has already been acquired. And in effect, it is like zooming in on the picture. So for example, if I wanted to zoom into a close-up view of the jockey and the horse on the left, I might choose something like this. And cropping helps me to achieve this composition. I can also crop a two-shot. And as a third example, we can go into a headshot of both the jockey and the horse in the middle of the image. So cropping allows me to do this. And for this, I want to use the crop tool. On the left-hand side of the toolbar, the fourth tool from the bottom is the crop tool. If I hover over that, you'll see the tooltip appear, and I can choose my crop tool. Now before I crop the image, I want to verify the settings in the options bar for how my crop tool will be applied to the image. We'll start with the default setting of unconstrained. When the crop tool is set to unconstrained, I can drag a selection marquee in any direction that I so choose. Once I release it, I then have crop handles on the top, bottom, left, and right of the image, as well as corner crop handles that will allow me to refine the crop marquee until I'm happy with the selection that I've chosen. So in this particular case, I'm going to isolate the subject on the left and hit return, and this is my cropped image of the horse and rider on the left edge of the frame. Keep in mind that when you crop an image, the area outside of the selection marquee is eliminated and the area inside of the crop selection marquee is preserved. And cropping is different from resizing. When you resize an image, you have to redefine the entire image matrix in a process called resampling. When cropping, this is not necessarily true. If I hit the enter key at this point, all of the pixels, in other words, all of the data associated with the pixels that are outside of the selection marquee area, will be permanently deleted from this image file. Likewise, all of the color data representing the pixels within the selection marquee will be preserved. Their original values will remain the same. So while cropping involves deleting pixels from outside the selection marquee, the pixels remaining within the selected area are going to retain their original value. And this is really important to remember. No resampling is required. Once again, there's my cropped image. So let's put cropping into practice and look at how we can crop a little bit more purposefully to achieve a desired outcome. I'm going to jump over to this image that I pre-created in Photoshop, and this is a TV graphic that I want to create based on my original high-resolution image. So in order to achieve this design, I need to specifically crop the image at 300 pixels wide by 300 pixels high, at least for the squares along the top. So let me go back to my image and we'll undo the previous crop. We'll zoom out a little bit so you can see the entire image. And again, with my crop tool selected, this time I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to go to my options bar and I'm going to choose size and resolution. This brings up a property window that allows me to enter in a custom width and a custom height and a custom resolution for the area of the image that I want to retain. And in this example, I'm going to choose 300 pixels for my width, 300 pixels for my height, and a resolution of 72 ppi because the image I'm creating is intended for video, and the industry standard resolution for video and for digital media in general is 72 ppi. I'll choose OK. Now, a selection marquee has been placed over this image, and by adjusting my crop handles, I can place the portion of the image that I wish to retain inside of the selection marquee. And to begin with, I'm going to try to get a high energy shot of the horse rider on the far left of the image. We'll go with something like that, and I'll choose return. There's my resized image. I'm going to select Command A to select all of the pixels in the image, Command C to copy, and navigate over to my main design window and choose Command V to paste. And there's my first image in the composite graphic. Now let me navigate back over to my original image. I'll go back to the original size, and we'll set up for the next crop transformation. I'll select my crop tool. Photoshop remembered the dimensions that I entered in previously, so I don't have to re-enter those. And I'll readjust my selection marquee to extract a different crop from this particular image. And we'll go with something like that. I'll hit return, Command C to copy. We'll go over to our master document and Command V to paste. And we'll move the second image into place. I'm going to move these above the text. And you can begin to see this composite image taking shape. We'll go back over. This time we'll do something a little different. Maybe we'll go slightly wider and we'll zoom in on the two riders in the middle. Something like that. We'll do Command A to select all, Command C to copy, and we'll jump back over to our other image, Command V to paste, and we'll move that third image into place. And we'll go back over for the last 300 by 300 transformation. And for this one, I think I'll just get a close-up of one of the horses. Something like that should work. Command A to select all, Command C to copy, Command V to paste, and we'll move the fourth image into place. On the bottom here, I want an image to complete this composite graphic that's a horizontally oriented aspect ratio, and the dimensions are 1340 pixels by 300 pixels high. So we'll go back over one more time. I'll choose my crop tool, and I'll adjust my width dimensions to 1340. I'll keep the height the same, and you can see that my crop marquee now is a lot wider than it is tall. And we'll go with something like that, and I'll hit return. Command A to select all, Command C to copy, and back to my composite graphic and Command V to paste. This example shows the power of cropping. From a single photographic image, I was able to create a dynamic composite of 5 individual shots taken from the same image. Well, just to finish this off and maybe add a little bit more pizzazz, we'll add some layer styles to this. I'll add a drop shadow to the image and maybe a stroke. And we'll copy that style and apply it to the other images in the composite. We'll paste those layer styles so that they're all similar, and voila, there's my master images totally created using the cropping tool in Photoshop.